When one looks at the cabinet nominees of the second Trump administration, one cannot help but notice there's some reality TV stars, there's some, people that are known to be selling vitamins on the side or, weight loss and anti-aging. And let's meet those Trump nominees. So, Janet Neshwat, a family medicine physician and frequent Fox News contributor, has been nominated by President-elect Donald Trump as the next Surgeon General. You have to also say Trump seems to love his Fox News contributors. Known for her vocal support of Trump, Dr. Janet has shared moments with the former president and his administration on her social media. Her role, if confirmed by the Senate, will involve leading national public health initiatives, addressing major health concerns like the opioid crisis, and overseeing the United States Public Health Service corporations or cores. Despite her medical background, Dr. Neshwat's public health experience is limited compared to outgoing Surgeon General Vivek Murthy. As the medical director of an urgent care network in New York, her public health contributions have been sparse aside from medical missions to Ukraine and Morocco. She gained visibility through her Fox News segments during the COVID-19 pandemic, where she discussed controversial topics such as her support for hydroxychloroquine. Sorry, I never could say that word. A drug later deemed ineffective and potentially harmful for COVID treatment. Neshwat also has a business interest in dietary supplements. She markets a product called BC Boost, which claims to enhance the immune system with vitamins such as B12, C, D, and zinc. While she advocates for natural health remedies, experts warn that excessive intake of such supplements can cause health issues. The $26.99 monthly product reflects her entrepreneurial side, though it raises questions about potential conflicts of interest for a Surgeon General. In terms of vaccines, Neshwat has promoted COVID-19 vaccinations for adults, calling it vital for public health, but opposes vaccine mandates, citing their impact on employment sectors like healthcare and public safety, which honestly is to be fair. There should not be a mandate. I mean, yes, like those older citizens which are more prone to, actually the lethality of the flu, COVID, pneumonia, things like that. Yes, promote it, but don't mandate it. Her mixed messaging extends to children's vaccination, where she has raised concerns about rare side effects while not emphasizing the greater risk posed by COVID-19 infections themselves. Her views highlight a balance between advocating for public health measures and questioning their implementation. On transgender health care, Dr. Neshwat has expressed concerns about medical treatments for transgender youth, favoring conservative approaches like psychotherapy over medical interventions. Her position contrasts with major U.S. medical organizations, but is more aligned with European, like British and Swiss medical organizations, in that children should not undergo permanent hormone therapy or permanent operations until after they reach 18. Neshwat's nomination signals a potentially controversial tenure as Surgeon General, given her minimal public health expertise, controversial views, and business ties. As she awaits Senate confirmation, her appointment raises questions about the direction of U.S. public health policy under the Trump administration. It's remembered that we also have Dr. Oz as a nominee as well, who also has his own supplements and anti-aging remedies that he is shilling, for the lack of a better word. So the question is how much does this shine light to those appointees that will be working side by side with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in other aspects of health? And top Republicans are divided over how best to advance President-elect Donald Trump's 2025 legislative agenda as the GOP prepares to take a slim majority in Congress. The debate centers on whether to consolidate major priorities like border security, energy policy, and the extension of Trump's 2017 tax cuts into one comprehensive bill, or to split them into two separate reconciliation packages. Reconciliation allows budget-related bills to pass with a simple majority, bypassing the Senate's 60-vote threshold, but nearly unanimous Republican support will be needed due to their narrow margins in both chambers. Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith strongly advocates for combining all priorities into a single package, emphasizing that delaying tax legislation risks jeopardizing its passage. Smith argued that a sweeping bill would be better to ensure the permanence of Trump's tax cuts and claimed his expertise in securing votes for tax policy. Meanwhile, incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune supports a two-bill strategy proposing to address border security, energy, and defense policy first, followed by tax cuts and cost-saving measures later in the year. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Trump himself have yet to finalize the sequence of legislation. Johnson acknowledged the importance of balancing political strategy with legislative goals, referencing the GOP's failed 2017 attempt to repeal the Affordable Care Act before successfully passing Trump's tax cuts later that year. Trump indicated he favors tackling border security within the first 30 days of his presidency, with tax cuts potentially addressed in a subsequent package. The division highlights significant challenges for Republicans. Senate rules limit reconciliation to budget-related provisions, which could exclude regulatory changes or stricter asylum laws. Additionally, the GOP's razor-thin House majority makes achieving consensus difficult, especially with expected resignations of key members like Matt Gaetz and Elisa Stefanik for roles in the Trump administration. Well, Matt, because he resigned, and resigned as he was nominated initially as Attorney General or to run the Department of Justice, but since removed his nomination. But there is already a special election being organized, and it will be concluded prior to the swearing in of the 2025 Congress. Rank and file Republicans are also split on the best approach. Here's the biggest issue, okay? Republicans, unlike Democrats, do not know how to stay in line. They defect, they pout, they throw tantrums, and how best do they show their displeasure is by refusing to vote or showing up, unlike the Democrats, because that's the one thing Democrats have. That you can have like the squad who go squawking and throwing their temper tantrums and complaining and all that. But when it comes time to vote, the Democrats step in line and they stay in line. That's how it occurred under Pelosi as Speaker of House. The Republicans do not seem to have that cohesiveness, or maybe, or some would say, bending of the will and the need to the leadership. But ultimately, when you have representatives such as Andy Biggs favor a single comprehensive package to avoid the risk of losing momentum or a second opportunity for reconciliation later in the year, others, including Representative Warren Davidson, support dividing the priorities across 2 fiscal years to provide more flexibility. This disagreement underscores the complexities of aligning the party's diverse factions behind a unified strategy. Ultimately, Republicans must balance competing priorities, tight legislative margins, Trump's influence as they navigate this reconciliation process. While some see merit in securing an early legislative win with a smaller initial package, others argue that consolidating priorities offers the best chance of achieving their goals. Ultimately, all legislatures, whether you have a D, an R, an I behind your names, ultimately what you should be looking to is what is it that the people of the United States want, and what were the largest and biggest issues that were glaringly shown The polls might have flubbed it up on how close this race really was between Kamala and Trump. But the reality is poll after poll and opinions after opinions for 4 years has shown that across Democratic voters, Republican voters, and independents, securing the border, reforming immigration, it was top of mind, as well as the economy. And one has to realize that our current tax brackets that we are under, we are currently still filing our taxes under the initial administration's, Trump's first administration's tax cuts, which lowered the tax brackets. Upon the tax, this 2017 tax concludes, if it has a natural termination date. Upon that natural termination date, beginning January 1 of 2026, the normal tax brackets are implemented, which means we are all going to be paying higher taxes. So yes, people will say, oh, the trickle down theory, the Reagan, oh, these tax cuts are only for the rich. Well, actually it benefited a lot of people, especially small to mid-sized business owners and solopreneurs and self-employed people. So what is the message here? As we're getting closer to the season of giving and hope, it is the hope that our elected leaders might actually begin to negotiate, collaborate, govern, and put forth the best interest of the United States of America before their own pockets, their own special interests, or their very extreme views. And for the Republicans, maybe take a cue from the Democrats and learn how to step in line. I don't know. I'm just a commentator. I'm also someone who has been begging for common sense to return to our government. So we are in for interesting times. We are now going to say good night to all of you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. And I look forward to seeing you next week, so I can wish you all the most happiest of holidays. I am Alina Gonzalez Dockery, bidding you all a farewell.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.